Alpen Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Welcome again to the class, students. So we'll continue with the wave optics now. So far we have seen wavelengths, wavefronts, Huygens principle to prove the laws of reflection, refraction. Now the next we have what is the behavior of plane wavefront on a concave mirror, convex lens and a prism. Now when you consider here, let us consider a concave mirror. When a plane wavefront incident on it, I have chosen a concave mirror. A concave mirror is the one where it is curved. Okay, the curved inside part is the, we can say it is the one, other side is the one where we have the opaque surface. Okay, the transparent surface is on the curved inside. When you consider the plane wavefront incident, after reflection they all converge to a point. But now let us see the wavefront. When a plane wavefront comes over there, because I already said the direction, the rays are the perpendicular direction of a wavefront. So it is a plane wavefront when you draw. After reflection, they come as a plane, but after reflection, they become a curved. Why? Spherical. Why? Because by the process of reflection, the parallel rays after reflection, they all converge to a point. So therefore, they are all converging. So you will get a spherical wavefronts emerging from the mirror. So you can see here, this is a plane wavefront incident and the emerging ones are the spherical ones over here. These are the spherical ones. And when you consider over here, if it is a convex mirror, so if it is a concave shape, the shape of the reflected wavefronts also of the same shape called concave. Okay. So now when you consider a convex mirror, so when you consider convex mirror, when the plane, the wave, that is the rays, but it is the enclosure, it is all emerging from the wavefronts. So when you consider over there, because when you consider the convex mirror, it is a diverging mirror. So it forms always the virtual images. So after reflection, they all diverge over here. It appears to be behind the mirror. So therefore, when you consider the plane wavefronts over here, it is a plane wavefront. These are the ones. After it is coming over, it goes behind the mirror. When you extend them behind, from the behind point you are extending. These are the extended ones. We get it over. This is of the same shape. What is the shape of a convex? The same curved projecting outward will be the wavefront. Okay. So the next we have a convex lens. I already said when a plane wavefront incident, because of the process of when it is a parallel ray, they all converge to a point. So therefore, when you consider a plane wavefront after refraction, you will get only the spherical ones. The last one we have over here, concave lens. Now when you consider as it is a diverging lens. Okay. So we can see like how it diverges out. So it is coming parallel and then diverges out. So when I draw a covering like this, it will be the shape. Okay. So when I draw a line for it over here, so I am just drawing a line over here. When this one, why I am getting only here like this here. Now listen, it is a very simple one I want to tell you over here. They are coming as a parallel, but this point will reach first. Okay, and this point will reach first the mirror, whereas the middle point of it reaches later. So by the time it reaches over here, it starts giving out the secondary wavelengths till the last point reaches over here. But by the time this part of the wave reaching into this, it has already traveled a distance. So therefore, the points emerging from A the points emerging from this end, the B, which is the extension of B, they travel a greater distance than the middle portion because it's a curve. So it takes some time to reach the center part of the mirror. So the wavefront. Same way over here. When the plane wavefront incident means when it is striking over here, you can see the middle part is striking first. After some time the end parts are reaching the mirrors. So as soon as it strikes, it starts giving out. So whereas here it takes some time. So when you come, that's the reason it is projecting outward because that is curved little bit outside. Is it clear? So now in the same way over here in the case of a convex lens. In the convex lens, here the plane wave, and this is the plane wavefront AB reaching. But after reaching, which is the point first reaching? The mid portion of the plane wave. So but it travels a longer, thicker portion of the lens. Whereas though it reaches little late, it travels a smaller, thinner portion compared to the middle. So it's a denser medium, it cannot travel faster. So it travels slowly through it. But by the time, though they reach late here, the end part of it are reaching late. But they have a small portion to cross over. So they cross this portion and emerge out. Whereas this is still, it is inside traveling through. But these points have already emerged from the convex lens. So they travel a greater distance. So that is the reason you get the curve in this form. Is it clear? Similarly, when you consider a concave mirror, when the rays of light incident, see now what's the plane wavefront? This is the plane wavefront. Which are the points reach here first? The one here it reaches first and then this reaches first rather than the middle portion. But though this reaches first, they travel the thicker portion of the lens, right? They travel the thicker portion of the lens, whereas the middle one reaches late, but it travels a thin portion of the lens. So they emerge out first. That is the reason it's curved outside. Is it clear? So this is what we have. So next we have a prism. So when you consider the prism the same way, so I'll just show the wavefront. See the wavefront? These are the wavefronts. So this point is reaching first. So this point is reaching fast. So after some time this will reach. After some more time only this will reach. But though this reaches first, they travel the thicker portion of the denser medium. So it cannot travel fast. So by the time this travels over here, but when it reaches the surface, it has crossed a small distance over here. And then it starts moving. But this portion was almost here when it travels here. But when it reaches the surface, since it has to travel a smaller portion in the prism, it emerges out faster. So it travels a longer distance. The same time it travels a shorter distance. And here it is the shortest distance because the top portion travels the thickest portion of the prism. Okay. So the emerging wavefront is that way. So it's a prism over here which shows the waves. So what is the AB is the incident wavefront and CD is the refracted wavefront. So next we have a very important thing which is coherent sources. What do you mean by a coherent sources? When you say a coherent source means because of the light. So these are those sources of light which emit, which gives out the light waves, of same wavelength, same frequency, and they are vibrating in the same phase or they have a constant phase difference throughout. Okay, what is a constant phase difference? I'll just tell you a small gist about it, then I'll proceed over. Now, when you consider there are two waves here. Okay. Now, here when you consider, I'm just considering two different sources which are emitting same S1, S2. There are two sources which gives out the wavelengths. Now, it looks like, just imagine in a still pond, you are just throwing two stones at the same time, closer. One will form the ripples, another one will form the ripples. So, both are concentric circles. So, when these two concentric circles meet, That is what interference. That I will come little later. So now that is the coherent sources over there. Just imagine like that. So now I've taken two sources, S1 and S2, which gives out the light radiation. So the waves are coming out. Now here when you consider both of them are coming out at the same time. So here both of them are the same time, t is equal to 0 here. And then t is equal to, for example, a time of 20 seconds. I'll take it as it is of 20 seconds. It reaches over here. This also reaches over there. So at every time they have a constant phase. Throughout them, when both are maximum, both are maximum. Both are minimum, both are minimum. That is the constant phase. Or when you're starting, one is already starting from here 90. At time t is equal to 0. But here it is 0. So the difference is here 90. Now the wave is starting from here. I'll just show another way the diagram. I'll just show in this way. Okay. Now this is 90. It is now at the time t is equal to 0. But after half an hour also, so what is the difference between them? This is 90, this is 0. Difference is 90. After 10 minutes, I'll just find out what is the difference. There also they have the same difference over here. I'll just show the values over here. I've not changed it. Here, it is the 1. So this is the 190. Over here, this point, it is come over here. And then it is coming over to this point, minimum. And again here, it is going in this way. Okay. And at this point over here, it is reaching. It is reaching over there. So everywhere I find out there is a constant difference of 90. Wherever I find there is a difference. So in this way they progress. So then we say those two sources are coherent. So when two sources, two waves are traveling in a medium, and throughout the travel they have a constant phase difference. Then we say it is the coherent sources. Okay. So now I'll move to the next one. Coherent sources can be produced in two ways. We can divide the wavefront. You can see by the division of wavefront using a double slit experiment, I'll explain, or by the division of amplitude, partial deflection and refraction. Now these are the examples of a, see here, laser beam of light, where you can see this over here. This is a waves, where you can see the waves all of the same type, all of them moving up and down. But here, this is the coherent sources, this is the incoherent sources, where they are of different amplitude. Okay. So now this is what we have over here. Now the next we have when two such waves which are same. So here when the waves are traveling in a medium, if they meet, okay, if they meet, then what happens? So there are waves traveling in a medium. So when the waves are traveling in a medium, we have seen in the 11th standard, okay, there is a principle, we call it as principle of superposition. When two or more waves are traveling in a medium, they superpose on each other, they overlap on each other. So when they are that is reinforced or overlapping, when they are moving one above the other, when they coincide, there are chances, that is what we call it as interference. Interference is the superposition of two different waves in the same medium. Okay. So here when you consider the interference, see there is one wave. Okay. Now we can see another wave, blue color, second wave. Now they are interfering. So after the green one is the interfered wave. After interference, what is the resultant wave? The green color is a resultant wave. Okay. So the resultant wave is the one which is in green color. Now when you consider the waves, are traveling, when they can interfere. Any wave can interfere? No. there are certain conditions. What is the condition is that the two waves which are coinciding, if you want them to interfere, the two sources of light should be a coherent sources. What is the coherent sources? As I said, you should have the same amplitude, same frequency, or when you consider at least they have a small difference of frequency, wave, the amplitude, frequency, same frequency and same amplitude. When they interfere, they can have a small same phase or a constant phase difference. Then those two waves are said to be a coherent waves. So when those waves meet, then only interference takes place. Okay. So this is we call it as a constructive interference, because what happens, the two amplitudes, E1 is the amplitude of the first wave, E2 is the amplitude. What is the amplitude? The maximum displacement of the wave, vertical, and this is the E2. When they are from coherent sources, then they add up together and give the resultant, which is the sum of the amplitude. So that we call it as a constructor. When it is a constructor, means when the waves are traveling, if a crest of one wave, for example, I'll just go back and show you. This is the one wave. This we call it as a crest. Okay. Now the second one. So when the crest of one wave and the crest of another wave coincides with each other, when they are moving, crest are moving together, trough are moving together, that means they are on the same phase. Then the crest of one wave and the crest of another wave meets, the amplitudes adds up together and gives a resultant. Suppose if a crest of one wave meets the trough of another wave, the E1 crest meets the trough of another wave, then the resultant wave will have an amplitude, the difference of the two. Okay. So that is what we have, a constructive and the destructive interference. So in the constructive interference, both the crest and the crest meets, trough and the trough meets. So it is a constructive. So because the amplitudes are just adding up and the resultant is a big wave which is a sum of both the amplitudes. You can see them in green color, which is a bigger wave. So when you consider here, I showed you, here when a crest of one wave meets the trough of another wave, then it happens a destructive interference. Okay. It is the resultant, that's what it is, a resultant wave is the difference between, the two amplitudes. Okay. So this is what we have over here. Now here you can see how the waves are spreading it over. I have taken two sources, S1 and S2. The waves are emerging. See how the waves are emerging. Okay. Blue color is from S2. S1 is the red color. So when they are interfering over there, you get the resultant wave, and when they interfere, we get here, these are the resultant ones which are emerging in all directions. And when you draw, we get it as one is the bright, dark, bright, dark. What is the bright? Bright is the one where they are adds up together, whereas the dark one is of a zero intensity. Okay. So crest, trough, bright band, dark band. Okay, these are the ones we have. So what is interference? It is the phenomenon of one wave interfering with another wave and the resulting distribution, redistribution of energy. I said light is the energy. Okay, it is the energy which moves from one position to the other position. From the source, the energy is taken to the location. So therefore, here it is a redistribution of energy in the space around the two sources of disturbances. Okay. So now this is an example which we have it over S1 and S2, two sources of light waves where we can see them circling over there. That is another wave which is a double slit. This is a another way how we can produce the two waves. Here I have two sources, okay, two sources which makes them to move circles, they will interfere. Here we have taken only one source, we have taken only one source, and then we have a double slit. This I will explain in detail when you go for the experiment. These are all examples of interference. Now I come to the theory of interference pattern. Now when you consider here, actually this is what I am going to do, the derivation of it is, it's not there in the syllabus, I'll give you a small gist about it, and then I'll proceed to the next topic where we have the experiment. At the end of the lecture, I'll tell you what are deleted in this chapter. Now, this is the one way. How will you represent a wave? In 11th standard we studied y is equal to A sin omega t, where A is the amplitude, y is the displacement of the wave. Sin omega t, this is the angular displacement theta. So this is the first one, first wave. And the second one, when there is a constant phase, there is a phase. Suppose as I told you here, I've just started over here, one is 90, one is 0. Here there is a phase difference, like this, there is a phase. If they are starting from the same position, both we will write it as A sin omega t, B sin omega t. If it doesn't start from the origin with some angle, we write it over phi. So when they interfere, we studied in the 11th standard, principle of superposition. When two or more waves are traveling in a medium, the resultant wave is given as sum of individual displacement. We call it as algebraic sum or vector sum of individual displacement, which is given as y is equal to y1 plus y2. Okay. So when you consider here the same waves are of the same speed, wavelength, frequency, time period, nearly equal amplitudes are traveling same direction with a constant phase difference phi. That's what I said. When they are progressing here, every point I see there is a difference of pi by 2. That is the phase, okay, phi. Okay. Omega is the angular frequency. So I already said we studied 11th standard, applying superposition principle, we have this. All this we don't need much, I am just proceeding further because all these derivations we don't have, it's deleted. So I'll just proceed to the next part of it over here, which is a very important one where we have the condition for constructive interference. What is a constructive interference, I said? When a crest and the crest meets, or when a trough and the trough meets, then the amplitude adds up together. So it becomes a bigger wave of higher amplitude. When a crest and the trough meets, the difference of the amplitude is the resultant wave. Okay. So this is what we have over here. So for coherent sources only we have cos phi is equal to 1. This is a cos phi equal to 1. Okay. Now when you consider here phi is equal to 2n pi, actually we have a beautiful explanation derivation. We don't have this, so I am just skipping over only the formula I am giving you. Phi is equal to 2n pi and the path difference is equal to n lambda. I will tell you what is path difference after the explanation of it. Now, here I maximum is a plus b square, that is also we don't have. Condition for constructive and destructive interference. For destructive interference, the I should be minimum. So therefore we have the value here, cos phi is 1 minus 1. So we have 2n plus 1 into pi, and the value of this is we take it 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2. That's what we have. So 2n plus 1 into lambda by 2. This is the one we have, path difference. Now I'll just proceed over to the Young's double slit experiment. Now double slit, what is the thing? How we can produce the coherent sources? One way, there is only one source. Actually, you can have two different sources of light and then transmit the waves. Only one source of light, but you take a cardboard like this. We take a cardboard source of light. There is a cardboard with two small holes over there. Okay. these two holes forms we call it as a slits. They call it as slits. So opening, small narrow opening. So the waves are emerging from this and they travel through. So from here the waves are going, from here the waves are moving. So when these two waves interfere, then the interference is obtained. So when these two waves, one is emerging from here, one is emerging from here. So when they both interfere, meet, and when their time of meeting, they are with the same phase or constant phase difference, then a constructive interference takes place. Okay, so or if they are, suppose when you consider them, they are in opposite phase, or when you consider crest and the trough meet, then we get a destructive interference. So this is what we call a double slit, because he made small narrow holes, each one acts as a slit. See here, one single slit, and then he made two narrow slits. Over here, that's a screen. So when the waves are emerging and they fall on the screen with alternate bright and dark fringes on the screen. So S1, S is the one. So this is the way we do the experiment. Now listen here students, a very important one. Now from S1 to P and S2 to P, the path travelled by the wave is different. S1 to P is a short distance and S2 to P is slightly longer. So that is the difference, we call it as path difference. The path travelled by the waves emerging from S1 and S2 are not equal. And if they are not equal, then they interfere, then they meet. Only if there is a path difference, they interfere. If there is no path difference, they travel straight. They travel straight here, they travel straight here, they will not interfere. Only if there is a slight difference in the path. Okay, so that is what path difference. I told you in the previous class, the previous slide, the path difference is equal to this for a constructive and this is the one value for a destructive. Now when you consider, this is the path difference, S1P, S2P. Now when you consider the path difference, now S to O, it is the center. Suppose if this is not there, the sources of light from S emerge waves like this and go and strike the screen with a bright spot on the screen. Okay, so here, but because of the slits, they interfere at this point and gives rise to your bright or dark fringes. Okay, so now at the point where they interfere is at a displacement y from the center point of the screen. See here, the distance of separation between the two slits is D and the distance of the screen from the slits, from the source, because this is very closer to S, we take it as capital D. That's the one we have, capital D. Okay. Now here, that's a capital D. Now here they are equidistant from each other, from the source. So from O, this S1, from here, suppose because the waves also will travel straight. Here also, they travel straight. So when they strike here, you will get only a bright spot because they travel straight line and give the same intensity over there. So here, they give rise to your bright spot. And these are equidistant from the center point. Reach the point P with some phase difference in path difference. What is the path difference? The difference, because this is longer, S2P minus S1P. Okay, because this is slightly greater. This is than S1P. So the difference of these two is the path difference. So in order to find it out, let's consider the right triangle over here, S2. I'll take this point as A and consider this right triangle and find out what is the value for S2P square. Okay, P square, which is given out here. This is a right angle triangle, hypotenuse. Hypotenuse square is equal to this square plus this square. From O to P is Y and this is D upon 2 Okay, so y plus d by 2 whole square plus d square. So that is what we write it over here. Okay, and that is S2p square. What is S1p square? Consider the right triangle, this one. So this is the hypotenuse, S1p square. This square, S1 to this one, it is d square, and this is taken as entire thing is y minus d by 2 is this. So we have here y minus d by 2 square. So we have S2p square minus S1p square is this. So this is by the formula a squared minus b squared, a plus b into a minus b. When you expand this, you get the answer to yd. So therefore we have here, this is the one. We have delta into 2d. Why taken as delta? Delta is the path difference. Because we have taken path difference is S2p. So in place of this, we put it as delta. And this is what we have 2d. Why? Because this is slightly greater than d. This is slightly less than d. When you add these two, approximately equal to 2d. That's what we take it over. 2d into 2yd. Our path difference is equal to yd upon d. Okay. So position of bright fringes. So for the white fringes, what happened? What is said? The path difference should be equal to n lambda. Yd upon d equal to n lambda, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So we have here, so here bring all the other factors. We wanted the displacement y. What is the distance of the y? So y equal to n lambda, bring this d to the other side, numerator, bring the small d to the other side, goes to denominator. So we have the displacement is given as n lambda d by d. So for the first fringe, when you consider, because when you draw over here, at the point over here, the first one, from the center, first one is n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, 3. So we get consecutive bright and dark fringes. Now when you consider for the dark fringes, when you consider dark fringes, the condition is the path difference is equal to 2n plus 1 into lambda by 2. So when you consider here, the same way, here in 2n plus 1 into lambda by 2, I wanted the value of y. So bring all these factors to the other side. So we have 2n plus 1 into lambda d upon 2d. So we get it over here 2n plus 1 lambda d by d. So when 1 is equal to 0, what is the value? When n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, what are the values of the displacement of the wave? The displacement from the center of the screen. Now the next is the fringe width. What is the fringe width? Fringe width is the distance between any two consecutive bright or dark fringes. Now for example, when you consider the first bright fringe is n lambda d by 2. The second bright fringe is 2 lambda d by 2. What is the distance between these two? They are two consecutive bright fringes. y2 minus y1. That is the consecutive bright fringes, the distance between the two consecutive bright fringes. So 2 lambda d by d, 1 lambda d by d. What will be the answer? Lambda d upon d. Okay, now we consider with the dark fringe. n1 is equal to 3 lambda d by d. And here 5 lambda d by d. So when you subtract y2 dash upon y1 dash, 5 lambda d by 2d minus 3 lambda d by 2d. What is the value of 5 minus 3? 2. 2 lambda d by 2d. 2 cancels, we get lambda d by d. So that is what I am going to explain now. So when you consider, we get it over here. Whether it is a dark fringe or a bright fringe, the distance between any two consecutive fringes is a constant. And that constant is lambda d upon d. Okay. So expression for a bright fringe width over here, the same thing which I explained over there. Here, this is for a dark fringe and the bright fringe over there. The expressions for fringe width show that the fringes are equally spaced. And what is the main quality of the interference is that whether you take the first fringe or you take the 100th fringe, all will have the same intensity. The intensity of the fringes will not decrease. It is the same. So it has maximum intensity throughout. Okay. So we have here distribution of intensity. See here I have shown you the graph which indicates this is the intensity, it is a displacement. As I said, whether you consider the first one or any number, all of them have the same intensity. Amplitude remains constant. Okay. So this is what we have over here. Okay. They have the same intensity, the formula is given over, but this is all now deleted over. So what are the conditions to obtain sustained interference? Means continuously interference pattern should occur. These are the conditions. The two sources must be coherent. The two interfering wavefronts must have the same plane of polarization, but this topic is cancelled for us. They should be very close to each other and the pattern must be observed at a large distance. The sources must be monochromatic. What is monochromatic? Means only one wavelength. When you have a white light, it is a composite of many colors which has got different wavelengths. That is not a monochromatic, polychromatic. So when you say monochromatic means only one wavelength. So even we use only one source in the youngster, only one bulb is used, but the slits are there. The slits are from the same prime parent source. So they will have the same frequency, amplitude, and they have the same constant phase. The two waves must have the same amplitude for better contrast between dark fringes and bright. This should be of the same amplitude. So we will get a good difference of a bright fringe and the dark fringe. Okay. So these are the conditions we have. So this is a slight problem we have. In Young's double slit experiment, the slits are separated by 0.28 millimeters and the distance between the central bright fringe and the fourth bright fringe determine the wavelength of light used in the experiment. So when you consider the distance of the bright y is equal to, it's a bright fringe, it is n lambda d upon d. Y is the displacement. He is asking, the slits are separated. What is the slits separated? D is equal to 0.28 millimeters. Okay. So you have to convert it into meter. 28 into 10 raised to minus 3. And what is the value we have given? The number is the fourth bright fringe. N is equal to 4. And what else is given? Screen. Screen is placed, what is the distance? 1.4 meter away. And the measure to be, the distance is over. Yeah. Screen is placed over. The bright fringe is measured over here. What is the distance between them? Or between the center bright fringe and the fourth bright fringe is measured over this y value, y4. This is for a fourth one. It's given over, what's the value we get it here as? The fourth one is 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 2 meters, because centimeter. Then you have to substitute everything in this formula and get the answer for the wavelength. Okay, all are substituted here. So when you consider, I'll just show you small form of it. (1.2) into 10 raised to minus 2 equal to 4 into lambda is given, lambda you are going to find out. Capital D is given as 1.4, small d is given as 0.28 into 10 raised to minus 3. So what is the value for lambda? 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 2 into 0.828 10 raised to minus 3 upon 4 into 1.4. Okay. Now here I can easily cancel over 14 2s are 28. So I'll take it over here. This is into 10. This is 10. So it becomes 2.8. So when you consider over, this goes here 2 times 2. Okay. So here this goes to, that is 2. and here this goes to 0.3. So what's the answer we get it here? 0.3 into 2 becomes 0.6 into 10 raised to minus 5, okay, meters. Or then you can convert it over there. So in this way, we have to do over the problem solver, okay. And the next experiment, that is the next question. In Young's double slit experiment, this is one of the application question which comes over. I'll just show you the working part of it. I1 and I2 are equal. I dash is equal to square root of, there is I1 plus I2, 2 square root of I1, I2 cos phi. Since they have the same intensity, add up together, we get it over 2I1 cos phi. And then what is the phase difference? 2 pi by lambda, path difference. Path difference is lambda because between them phase difference is 2 pi. Then substitute here, we get it as 4I1. We take I dash as k, therefore I1 is equal to, here when you consider it is k upon 4. So when path difference is lambda by 3, the phase difference is 2 pi by 3. We substitute here and the resultant intensity is over here. Okay, so that's all we have now. I'll just continue the next part of it. Before that, I just wanted to show you the what is not there. These are the ones we have in this chapter. Introduction, no questions will be asked over. Huygens principle, refraction proving, which we have done. Coherent and incoherent addition of waves. Interference of light and Young's experiment, that's why we don't have. The superposition, the formula intensital we don't have. Then diffraction. With this it's over. What is deleted is this is the one. That is resolving power of microscope is deleted. Astronomical telescope in this resolving power is deleted. Polarization is completely deleted this topic. Plain polarized light, Brewster's law, uses of Polaroids and polarized light and Polaroids. Okay, so only one small topic we have, but that will finish. Here we are going to have diffraction of light. What is a diffraction? Now we know the light waves when there is, now for example when you consider if the light waves are travelling in a straight line. Suppose if this is a source, the light waves are travelling. Suppose if I keep an obstacle here, please listen here. Here, if I keep an obstacle in the path, then what I should get over here? A shadow. I'll get a shadow. So what is the image, whatever the shadow over here? So on this part, we'll have a full intensity of light. Now, for example, in a dark room, okay, you're just opening the door, the light from outside entering. It is spreading out. And how it is spreading over? Because at the door, when you consider, when they are entering over there, some of them travel straight, some of them bend and travel. That's why it spreads out. Okay, so when you consider, the waves always spread. So there is a source of light, because now when you put the switch on, from the bulb, the light waves are spreading out. Okay, so it's coming out over there. So it spreads out. Okay, so now here also, when if there is an obstacle, here you get there is an obstacle, we get a shadow, but we don't get a shadow. We get the intensity spreads to some places also here. Why the intensity spread here? Because they bend and travel. So this is what we call it as diffraction. A best example, children, I'll tell you. So now normally, you know, the children when they are playing hide and seek, they always choose one corner place and go and say 1, 2, 3. Or even when you are talking, the voice is different. When you put a hand in the path, automatically you can see it echoes type. So why? The waves are bending. So all the waves are constraints, bending and traveling over. That is what diffraction. So diffraction is the bending of waves around the edges of an obstacle. When there is an obstacle, it does not say, no, it is obstructing me, I will not travel. It bends its path and travels through the medium. Okay, so that is what diffraction. So the phenomenon of bending of light around the corners of the edges of the obstacle. within the geometric shadow, we have to get, when there is an obstacle, we should get a obstacle, we should get a shadow. But even in the shadow, you get some part of the shadow is taken by the intensity of light. It is due to the phenomenon of diffraction. Okay. So here S is a source of light, from which here there is a screen. The waves are spreading out. You can see. So when this is the one, wave it spreads out because the lights are here. But what you have to get, since there is an obstacle over here, you should get a complete image over here, complete shadow. But here you can see the light spreads out here, spreads out this side, because here it is the one. But when you draw a line here, here is an obstacle, it has to get a shadow. But there also we get in the light. Here is an obstacle. So when you draw a line, it comes here. You should get a shadow. But here also you are getting light. That is due to the process of diffraction. Okay. So diffraction at a single slit. So here you can see if there is an obstacle. So when the obstacle, now it is placed in the opposite way. So here it is an obstacle. So when there is an obstacle over here, you should get over here complete shadow, only this part. But here the shadows are spread out here. Because that is the way, because the light waves are bending. Okay. So that is what we have over here. Okay. That's the extra distance, intensity X and Y, or the extra intensity we got it. So now we are going to go for the explanation of it, which is the last subtopic of this chapter. So now when you consider here, there is a source of light. Here there is a width. Okay, now listen to me here. There is a slit, means there is one opening. Here there is a source of light. Here there will be a source of light. Okay, from which the waves are emerging. And there is a slit. Means what? You take a cardboard, make a small opening through which the waves are emerging out. When they travel straight, because now they travel straight and they go and strikes the screen, where you get a bright spot on the screen. Okay, if they go straight, but what happens over there, they bend and travel also. So that I will just come over here. It's a plane wavefront 1, 2, 3, 4, around 12. So they go, now when you consider, I am just keeping a convex lens over here, where it is used to converge all the rays and give you a bright spot, because all the rays are brought to focus. Around there are 12 waves, all are constrained to one point, so which gives you a bright spot on the screen. Now, suppose when you consider them at an angle theta, we are choosing for a particular angle. Okay. See now, just tilting to a particular angle. So then what happens over there? The entire slit, okay, there are 12 parts over, 12 spherical waves are there. They are divided into two parts. One is this slit, another one this. So then what happens over there? Each one, now when you consider, when they are traveling, one complete wave, what is one complete wave is lambda. For completing one lambda over here, so because one wave is, what is the angle it takes place? 2 pi. To complete one wave it takes 2 pi. So when you consider the spherical wavelengths are half. Half means what? Lambda equal to 2 pi. Half is how much? Pi. It is lambda by 2. Here when you consider, each one is traveling with the path difference of lambda by 2. But here they are divided into two parts. So lambda by 2 is first part. All are traveling lambda by 2. Here also lambda by 2. But when you consider, when they are divided, when there is a division over here, what happens over there? They have a different phase. If one person is starting from the crest, I am starting from the trough. So there is a phase difference. So when there is a phase difference, so when they meet over there, what happens over there? The crest and the trough cancel each other. So as they are divided into two parts, one is with the crest 6 crest are there, 6 trough are there. So they both cancel each other and give rise to a dark spot. So when you consider they are divided for a first angle theta, they are divided into two parts and therefore they cancel each other and gives rise to a dark spot. Okay, so this is what we have. So lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2 equal to lambda. So here the path difference is lambda because they added together. Because they both meet means they are adding. So lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2 becomes lambda. So that time we get a dark fringe. Why we get a dark fringe? Because they both are opposite phase. They cancel each other. 6 crest, 6 trough. Now, so that is what it gives rise to a dark spot over there. Okay, because O is the bright one, P1 is a dark fringe. Now, when you consider over the next condition over here. Now, therefore, when you consider there is a lambda by 2. It is a difference of lambda by 2, lambda by 2. Okay, so this is the one way we have over here for an angle theta 1. For the next one here, the wavelets from the single wavefront diffract at an angle theta 1 such that now when you consider over here, this is the wave and this is the wave traveling. They travel a short distance, they travel a longer distance. So what I am going to do is from here I am drawing a perpendicular. So now these two becomes equal, right? So from the center point to this they travel, this is the extra path they travel. They travel, extra path is this is the one. This is the one, Bn is the extra path travel. So here it makes an angle theta. So therefore this is the one, Bn is said to be the path difference which is equal to lambda by 2 plus lambda by, that is the one causes it, which is equal to lambda, and that produces the dark fringe. Now when it is theta 2, I have taken divided into 4 parts. Then it is given as 4 parts and all over lambda by 2 over here. 1 lambda, lambda by 2, here lambda, 3 lambda by 2, 2 lambda. So what is the difference over there? This is traveling lambda, there is a difference of lambda by 2 phase here. Here another lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2. Lambda, again lambda plus lambda by 2. 3 lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2. 5 lambda. So here the path difference is 5 lambda by 2. So here also when you consider there is a difference. If the first part, the whole slit is divided into 4 parts. Each one, here you are starting with the crest, here you are starting with the trough, here crest, here trough. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So each one is out of phase with each other. So they cancel each other and give a dark spot P2 on the screen. Okay, with a wavelength 2 lambda. So here when you consider over, that is also a dark fringe. Then when you consider theta 1. Okay, now in this case when you consider the waves are emerging, but the slit is divided into 3 parts. It looks like divided into 3 parts. 3 parts means lambda, lambda by 2 and then lambda over the, okay. So here 0, lambda by 2, lambda, because we have to keep on adding lambda by 2. So 0, lambda by 2, lambda and then plus lambda by 2 which becomes 3 lambda by 2. So now here when you consider the first, because they are divided into 3 parts. So the first one crest means, second one trough, third one is crest. So the first 2 cancel each other because 12 divided by 3 which becomes 4. So 4 crest cancels 4 trough in the second group and the 4 crest which is in the third will give rise to a bright spot. But what will be the intensity? When the central, all the 12 are going to the O. So it gives a bright spot of 12 wavelets. But now only 1/3 of it is going, only 4 wavelets. So it becomes slightly dimmer. So the intensity decreases. Is it clear? So intensity decreases now. So now here this is the one is given over. So here we get a bright on both sides. The wavelets is going to diffract an angle 3 lambda by 2 and reach the point P1 dash. The pairs are, they are combining like this and therefore it interferes. But here what happens over there? We get a bright spot of 1/3 of intensity as the central maximum. Okay. And the next one we have over diffraction for various angles. Okay. So this is the first one. First one is this, where all the 12 wavelets are moving, give a bright spot of 12 wavelets. That is the one. Second one, it is P1, where we consider two parts divided, it becomes a dark spot. Third one, divided into 3 parts, it gives a bright spot. But 1/3 intensity. Fourth one, divided into 4 parts, but they cancel each other, again dark spot. Okay. So when you draw the fringe, there is the intensity, it is maximum at the center, and then it becomes 0, and again it increases here, okay, of 1/3 intensity, and then it becomes 0. So this is what we have over here. So this are the different angles. So central maximum is the brightest of fringe. Diffraction is not visible after few. When it continues, because the intensity keeps on decreasing. So fifth of fringe, 1/5 of intensity, whereas seventh one is 1/7 of the intensity. So the intensity gradually decreases. Okay. So these are the ones we have theory. The path difference between the 0th wavelength and the 12th wavelength is Bn, and it is d sine theta. Okay. I'll just show only this part over here on the board. Just see, because I don't have the diagram here. I'll just show. Now, if S is the source over here, the wavelets are emerging for an angle. For example, here, the waves are moving from this place and gives rise to the, it can be a bright or dark fringe. So that is the path difference. This is the width of the slit, which is small d. Okay, and this is the one A, B is the width of the slit. I drew a perpendicular N. This is the angle theta. So Bn is the path difference. Now, what is sine theta? Now let us consider the right triangle. Right triangle ABN. Sine theta equal to opposite side Bn upon AB. Bn upon AB. Or Bn equal to AB sine theta. What is AB? That is the width of the slit D. So we have D sine theta is the path difference. Okay. Now, if this path difference D sine theta, okay, equal to, if it is n lambda, whether it is lambda, 2 lambda or etc. If it is here, that's what is given. For n secondary minimum, minimum means dark fringe, we get it as 1 lambda, 2 lambda, n lambda. So d sine theta n equal to n lambda, or theta n is equal to n lambda d upon d, n lambda upon d. With theta n, we call it as angular width. It is known as angular width. To establish a condition for secondary minima, the slit is divided into how many parts? Maxima. It is divided into 3, 5, 7. And the intensity gradually decreases. Okay. Equal parts corresponding to the wavelets from alternate regions interfere with path difference, lambda. Here when you consider the path difference is to be for the maxima, it is 2n plus 1 equal parts. So we have 2n plus 1 into lambda upon 2. This is for the, this is the one we have for the maxima. This is for maxima and this is for minimum. Okay. So here when you consider secondary minimum, it can be split into, divided into parts over here. Okay. So we have different parts with the central maximum. It's the bright fringe where we have over here. Okay. For the first one, we divided into 2 parts over here. Okay. This is tan theta 1, which we don't have. We have only this part. D sine theta 1 is equal to lambda upon d for the first one, because n is equal to 1. Okay. So these are the different things we have. Y1 is equal to lambda d upon d. Central maximum is spread on either side of the O. The width is beta 0, 2 lambda d. Why it is taken as 2 lambda? Because it spreads on both the sides. Now this is the difference between them. Interference is due to superposition of two waves traveling in the medium. Whereas diffraction, it is due to the superposition of secondary wavelets from the different parts of the same wavefront. One wavefront, different parts they meet. Fringe width, here it is constant, their fringe width are varying. All the maxima have the same intensity, the maxima have varying intensities. There is a good contrast between maxima and minima, but they, because of the different intensities, you won't get a clear image of a clear picture of the image of a fringe, bright fringe and dark fringe. So far we can, like we have seen about the waves. What are the things we have seen? The waves, the light is transmitted. We always think it's a ray. There is a wave also. It is a combination of waves and rays. The perpendicular direction of the wave is said to be the ray. So the different properties we have seen. So about the height, reflection, refraction, superposition, interference, diffraction. Okay. Students, these are all the things we have seen. Please go through everything in proper, because this chapter carries 5 marks for the board exam. Okay. I wish you all the best, students. Thank you.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.
अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस।